Amajim, upon Akadam, he faced the east. The Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabashamayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakuka, Daba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratazah, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Hakam, Lakam, Ka, Lawam, Wasalagnawa, Kabawatanawa, Kasalagnawa, Kabawatanawa, Wala'ah, Dabayayanawa, Banasai 1, Abal, Hawasayanawa, Aman, Mayan, Rad, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Wala'ala, Wathaparath, La'ai Aman, in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day, our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. In Hebrew. Yahweh, this all one word? No. Oh. Say it all the time. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahushua. Baba Kasha. The thunder now. Hakat. Larapa, Kal Makala, Wakal Madawan, Hakat, Latahar, Hamatazaram, Hakat, yeah, too. Lahaquayim, what's that? Lahakim, Hamathium, Hakat, Laha, El Rakarawaf, Hatama'ala, okay. Lagarashan, Bahashim, Yahushua, the water, Aman, in the English. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. Please give us the power. The power to heal all manner of sickness. All manner of disease. The power to cleanse the leper. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. Cast them out. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you, so be it. The prayer of blessed Israel. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahushua. Barak Lanawa. Why Yasharala? You say it all the time. Kwam Yasharala. But you have the what, bro? Washarala. Yasharala. Right. Say it again. Yasharala. Wahabayaf. Wahabayaf. Saparium. Saparium. Barak. Barak. Rapah. Rapah. Magun. Magun. Hagun. Hagun. Ba'ashim. Ba'ashim. Yahushua. Yahushua. The water. The water. Aman. Aman. Yahweh. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. In the name of Yahushua. Bless us. Bless us. And Israel. And Israel. And the school. And the school. Bless. Bless. Heal. Heal. Shield. Shield. Protect. Protect. In the name of Yahushua. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you, so be it. Thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Whew. You want to read this? You want to take a gander at it? Asha. Asha. Aisha. A-H-S-H-A-A-A. Aisha. Aya. Supposed to say it. Aisha. Aisha. Ayanya. Ayanya. El. Al. Oh. Hi Haran. Hi Haran. Hi Haran. Haharium. Haharium. Mayan. Mayan. Yaba. 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 Izaria. 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 Ma'an. Ma'an. Yahweh. Yahweh. Aisha. Aisha. Shamayam. Shamayam. Wa Arataza. Ayatan. Ayatan. Lamawat. Lamawat. Ragaka. Regalka. Regalka. El Yanawam. El Yanawam. Shamaraka. Shamaraka. Hana. Hana. La. La'a. La'a. Yanawam. Yanawam. Wala'a. Wala'a. Yayashan. Yayashan. Shawamar. Shawamar. Yasharala. Yasharala. Yahweh. Yahweh. Shamarka. Shamarka. Yahweh. Yahweh. Tazaka. Tazalka. Tazalka. Elyad. Elyad. Yamyaka. Yamyaka. Yawamam. Yawamam. Hashamash. Hashamash. La'a. La'a. Yakaka. Yakaka. Wayarash. Wayarak. Wayarak. Okay. Balayala. 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 Yahweh. Yahweh. Shamarka. Shamarka. Makal. Makal. Right. Right. Yashamar. Yashamar. Atha Naparska. Atha Naparska. Atha Naparska. Yahweh. Yahweh. Yashamar. Yashamar. Tazowanaka. Tazapawanika. 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 Wabawaka. 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 Mayatha. Mayatha. I will in English. I will lift my eyes to the hills. I will lift up my eyes to the hills. Whence comes my help? Which comes my help? It comes from the Lord. My help comes from the Lord. which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee.
He that keepeth thee.
Will not slumber.
Will not slumber.
Behold.
Behold.
He that keepeth Yasha'Allah.
He that keepeth Yasha'Allah.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The Lord shall slay.
He shall not smite thee by day.
Yeah. The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
Nor the moon by night.
Nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
And thy coming in.
And thy coming in.
This time forth.
From this time forth.
And even forevermore.
And even forevermore.
Yeah.
SARS. Turn, which means to turn. The Shabbat. Have a seat. I ain't chopping up too bad. Too bad. I get that.
So, that's not. We're at Exodus chapter 30, and verse 1.
Exodus 30 and 1.
And then the chart was on the bottom of that. You did it.
What the renown.
You're in Genesis from Exodus.
Oh, God. Slap this. What is that? That's not.
The big one or the little one? You know the first letter of the first word? That's the one.
Yeah, say it so that people can hear you.
I'm not sure if they're right. Concert. Makwa. What's this right here? What is this right here?
The top.
Oh, okay. Tara. Makatar. Qua. Quata. Ra. Quarter ra. Quarter ra.
You close?
Quarter ra.
But
Quarter.
rough.
Rough. Okay. Quarter rough. Concert. The water. Okay. Itazah. Yeah. Itazaya. Sha'ai. Sha'aya. 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 So. Sha'ayas.
The last one's in the mouth.
Oh. Sha. I. Yum. Shata. Shata. Yo. Yum. The I. The Aisha. Shaha. The Aisha.
The Aisha.
The Aisha. Atha. Athawa. Verse 2. Ama. Ama. Concert. Ara. Araka. Arakawa. Na'a. Na'a. Na'ama. Now a mug.
Where you at? Third line, first word.
The last. First,
Second.
yeah. Right.
Second line, last word.
Second line.
Okay.
One. One.
What?
Well, a month. Raka. Rakaba. But what?
Wakabwa.
Wakaba. Okay. Rabba. Rubber nut. Rubber. What? Rubber nut. Rubber what? I.
So put it together.
Rubber. Rubber what? I. Yeah. Your car. Yaha. Is that Yaha? Yahaya? Yahaya. Yahaya. Well, the yeah. So,
Then the characters.
Waha mata matasa.
Ending characters.
Ending carol. Ma.
To be young. When it's ending character, it's just it ends. And it's very unlikely you'll find a "sa" at the end of the word. It's rare. You don't find very many Hebrew words with a "sa" at the very end.
Right.
That's how you know it's a ma.
Quamata. What? Quamata.
Kwamathwa.
Quamathwa. Mama got Mama go what? Mama go what?
Amunwa.
Manwa.
Maman.
Maman. Yeah. Quora, Quaraga, Quaragatha, Yawa, verse 3. Wataza Paya the. What the heck did I just say?
What does a yeah? Okay.
Of the what? Zahaba. Ta Taha Tahawa Ra Tahawa Tahara Tahawa Ra Tahawara Tahawa Ata Gaga Gagawa. Was that right? Ata off Gagawa wa Ata wa off Qua Quaya Ra the Ya what? This Maba Ya.
No, this
Oh, come. Sabah Ya Ba Sabaya Waya Da Wa'af Quara 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 Daya what? Wa Aisha Yata Lawa Zara Zahaba Maba Mabaya. Oh, I keep on the bottom. Sabah Waba. Sabah Waba.
Sabayab.
Sabah. Say it again.
Sabayab.
Sabayab. Verse 4.
I'll take it for verse 3. It's Exodus chapter 30, verse 4 in the Hebrew. Washathya, Taba'ith, Zahab, Aisha, Mithakath, Tazarwa, Al, Shathiyah, Tazala'ith Yawa, Ta'aisha, Al, Shanya, Tazad Yawa, Wahaya, Labathium, Labadium, Lasha'ath, Afwa, Bahama, verse 5. Wa'aishayath, Ath, Habadium, Ataziyah, Shathayam, Watazapayath, Atham, Zahab, verse 6. Wanathatha, Athwa, Labanya, Haparakath, Ashar, Al, Arak, Ha'aidath, Labanya, Hakaparath, Ashar, Al, Ha'aidath, Ashar, Awa'id, Lot, Shema, verse 7. Wahakwat, Wahakwata Yar, Alyua, Ha'aran, Quatarath, Samayam, Babakor, Bahayat, Yabwa, Ath, Hanarath, Wakata Yar Na. All right, in English. Y'all need to clap for me.
In the English, Exodus chapter 30, verse 1. And thou shalt make an altar.
You shall what?
Thou shalt make an altar.
Y'all shall make an altar. An altar is what? What is an altar?
It's like what we
It's
see.
like a podium, a
Right.
table where you teach and have a service from, as of what you'd see right now on the camera or in person. Go ahead.
To burn incense upon.
To do what?
To burn incense upon.
And to burn incense. Why would you burn incense?
For the fragrance,
For the fragrance. You understand? It'd be more of like a not an offering, but you wanted to make it holy,
Right.
so it'd smell good, so it doesn't stink like musty man foot
Correct.
and all the other business. It's true. It is what it is.
Come on.
Is it? Go ahead.
Look at the name of this wood. Shittim wood.
I know. See, now the question is, I know what shittim wood is.
I don't.
Any of y'all know what shittim wood is?
I do not know what that
Know what
is.
it looks like.
Like, so is it almost kind of like almost like the I ain't gonna say the wooden floor tiles, something like that.
No, it doesn't look like laminate. It's that wood that let's say you cut a tree in half. Doesn't matter. When I mean half, I mean like down the middle from the tip to the bottom. You cut off a log. Okay, let's do this. Let's cut a tree down. Let's chop it up into its circular pieces, right? Then you cut one of those circular pieces in half. You understand? Then you would like shave off the bark, and then you'd cut it again and cut it where it'd be like a slice of wood, and then you'd polish it and clean it, and that would be a piece of shittim wood. You understand? It can have various forms. You know how like you have a piece of wood. Now trees have like the out branch.
Right.
You understand, where you'd have it look like a log, part of a log, and then another portion would kind of branch off. It'd all be the same piece. You understand? You see it all the time when you go to like downtown. It'll be a type of bench. You understand? Just look it up in your phone. You'll see what shittim wood is. It's more of like an artistic type used for tables. If you go to like a log cabin or something
That's
like
what I was
that,
thinking.
it'd be like a log table.
Right.
Yeah,
Think about that.
Carved decorative.
Table. That's technically shit.
Okay, got it.
You understand? But go ahead.
Okay. Of shittim wood shall thou make it.
You understand? They're making the podium and whatever the case, the table out of shittim wood, which would be really hardcore. You understand? If we didn't already have a glorious table, you understand? Thanks, Officer Rum. You understand? I would actually try to recreate a shittim wood table. That would cost a nice penny though.
Got
I understand? But go ahead.
Verse 2. A cubit shall be the length thereof.
A cubit shall be the length thereof. Now, how long is a cubit? Don't Google it. Tell me if it rained. Anyone know?
1 cubit.
A cubit. What's the length of a cubit?
Cubit is rock here.
About 5 feet.
I already know y'all are gonna have to Google it. No, it's not 5 feet. It's shorter than 5 feet.
Sure. A cubit is 1 foot.
It's more than 1 foot.
About,
Hardly more than 1 foot. It's more.
right, about 2, a little bit less than 2 feet. About 2 feet.
It's 1.5 feet.
1.5.
You understand? 18 inches is how much a cubit is.
Oh.
So you would know. You understand? You gotta, because remember, you gotta try to imagine they're building something, and if you don't have the measurements in your own mind, to be like, well, that's a huge ass table.
Right.
You understand? Keep reading though.
Come on, sir. A cubit shall be the length
You
thereof.
understand? So 1 cubit shall be the length. That doesn't seem very long for a table, does it?
Right.
A whole 1.5 feet.
Right.
Makes you think a second about what I just said, don't it? But keep reading.
And a cubit, the breadth thereof.
And 1 cubit, the breadth thereof. So technically, this is a cubit. It's basically a square now.
Right.
It's 1 whole square. Right. Go ahead.
4 square shall it be.
For what?
4 square shall it be.
4 square shall it be. Does this mean this table is a whole 1 foot and 6 inches in each direction? What's it saying?
It's saying make the squares and place them together to make one big table.
That's times it by 4.
Oh, okay, got it.
Times of your 1.5 feet by 4.
1.5 by 4.
You can't really have a podium that's only a foot, a whole square.
Right.
So that's about 6 cubits.
So that's about roughly 6 cubits.
Yeah.
You understand? So which that would be about a little over 6 feet.
Right.
About 8 feet.
About 8. Yeah.
About 8.5 feet.
Got it.
Right. So now it makes more sense. You understand? This table is roughly 6 feet. That's how you know. They're making an altar or whatever. You can't really do much on a whole 1.5 feet.
Right.
1.5 feet.
Right.
It's got to be a bigger. Area than that. Right. Go ahead.
4 square shall it be, and 2 cubits shall be the height thereof.
You understand? And the height is only going to be about what 3 feet.
Right.
You understand? It's only going to be a 3-foot table. Remember, it's an altar. It's not necessarily a teaching table.
Right.
Right.
But it's got to be a big enough thing, because where do you make sacrifices on altars?
On the altar.
You understand? The altar, you're not going to be making the goat or the sheep or whatever type of animal that you sacrifice. It wouldn't fit on a whole 1.5 feet.
Right.
So it doesn't make sense. Right.
And you don't want it too tall, because the sacrifice, usually, like if you see even like on movies that show the heathens when they have their altars, the altar comes up to about your thigh, no higher than your waist.
Exactly. You understand?
Right.
Because for one, you need leverage over the animal that you're killing.
Right.
If it's 8 feet up and 6 feet up in the sky, what are you gonna be doing?
Right.
Because you actually got to hold the animal down, because it's not going to be all friendly with you. It knows it's about to get its neck slit.
Right.
So you got to put the leverage over it. So you got to actually have a little bit of body weight, so it can't be too high. So let me go ahead.
The horns thereof shall be of the same.
You know what?
The horns thereof shall be of the same.
You understand? Now they have horns, and the same is talking about the whole 2 cubits.
Right.
Right. So meaning it would either it's 2 feet off the ground, 3 feet off the ground, and then there's horns probably on each corner. You understand? It doesn't say exactly where the horns are at, so that's just me guessing where the horns are at. So don't quote me.
Right.
It doesn't say, so you can't really specify exactly what location the horns are at.
Verse 3. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold.
Ooh. They made it fancy. They overlaying it with pure gold.
Right.
You understand? They just basically overdid the whole shittim wood part, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
They said, I don't want to do it like wood. I want to make it all goldish, which we don't. Imagine shittim wood with the encasing of gold.
Yeah.
where the whole design of the shitting wood with the spirals and stuff to tell you how old the tree was, and the knots and stuff. All those were like engraved in gold inside the shitting wood gloss. That would be cool. That would be bad. I ain't rich, but if I was, I'd be making stuff like that. Original Find My House.
Right.
The top thereof and the sides thereof round about.
You understand? So go ahead, read the look.
And the horns thereof, and thus shall make unto it a crown of gold around about.
You understand? So they just pure gold of this altar, even the horns and everything. Then they put a crown around it. So this crown is the crown on top.
Wait, you said
it said, and thou shalt make unto it a crown of gold round about.
So the crown is around the altar, like the corners of the altar, like that's the decoration.
Exactly.
How the banner is on our altar, but it goes all the way around.
Exactly. You understand? It's like a border of gold. What do you call it, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. And 2 golden rings shalt thou make to it under the crown of it.
You understand? So under the crown, then they put 2 golden rings. Go ahead.
By the 2 corners thereof, upon the 2 sides of it shalt thou make it, and they shall be 4 places for the strives.
No R in that.
Okay. And they shall be 4 places for the staves to bear it with them.
With all. And what's a stave? Anybody know?
Staves. Handles.
Stave is like a it's like a pole.
Exactly. It's a pole. It's what's holding it up. Okay. You understand? You got to think. It's got to be off the ground a little bit.
Right.
Google the word stave.
Okay.
You understand? If I'm not mistaken, the word stave is more of like a pole or a rod, along those types of things, like a leg or one of these. A stave.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Let us get another school on the west side. I'm going to get a podium or a table of shit. I'm dead serious.
That's right.
I'm dead serious.
I got it, sir. Definition of stave: a vertical wooden post or plank in a building or other structure.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Another term for staff.
All right, see, there you go.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Verse 5. And thou shalt make the stave of shittim wood.
So the same type of wood is for the staff, right? Go ahead.
And overlay them with gold.
And overlay them with gold. I mean, this whole altar looks glorious as hell. You understand? This is an altar. Sacrifice is gonna be on this thing. Blood's gonna be all up on it. And it's all also made of gold. That's how you know Israel don't play like that.
Right.
You know, even if you know it's gonna be ruined or by something, it's still gotta be gold and holy.
Right.
And royal as hell.
Has to be glorious.
It has to be glorious. Like our garments, we know there's gonna be blood on it one day.
Right.
One day.
Right.
What doesn't mean we ain't gonna get it one day. Guess what? You understand? If it wasn't a lawful, you get your very first Edomite kill when the Lord sends us to be hunters, and then you just frame that mug in your crib. But you can't.
It'll act.
We're like a
It'll
pyramid.
be unclean.
So like the blood will accent the garment.
Yeah, it would. Unless it's just, you might if you had a white garment, now you have a red garment.
Right.
Right.
And thou shalt put it before the veil that is by the ark of the testimony.
Read it one more time.
Okay, verse 6. And thou shalt put it before the veil that is by the ark of the testimony.
Right.
Before the mercy seat.
What?
The mercy seat.
The mercy seat.
Mercy seat.
Go ahead.
That is over the testimony, where I will meet with thee. Verse 7. And Aaron shall burn thereon sweet incense every morning.
Yeah, that's a holy place. Burn incense every morning.
Right.
What do we do on Saturdays?
Burn
burn incense every morning. And it's so that's just traditionally why we keep it. Go ahead.
When he dresseth the lamps, he shall burn incense upon it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now we're going back to the Hebrew. Because y'all were late, y'all don't get called up. Hence 2 chains. I saw him about to get up, that's why. Let's look at the Hebrew, verse 8. Let's read a couple and then I'll take that.
Okay. Verse 8. Okay. Wabba I love the ahara na aharana Atha hub gara the bayana her eye her ira baya I yakwa ta yara ga ha qua qua quanta rata quanta rata ta damaka damayata lapa lapana lapana lapan na ya yaha naha ya Yaha. Wa. Huh?
You should know this word.
No.
You say this word so many times today.
Oh, Yahweh.
There you go.
Yahweh. God.
That's how you spell Yahweh.
God, sir. Lo. Lada. Ladara. Da. What? Ya. Ka. Kama. Verse 9. Lana. La'a. The I. The Isla. What? Isla. Yep. Isla. Yup. You what? Qua. Qua. Oh, ma. Is that no? No, that's not. Ta. Oh, come on. Okay, the water shut. Quata. Ra. Ta. Zara. Zara. Wa. Wa I. Wa Isla.
That's it. Her at the end is
Sorry, come on. Wa ma. Wa ma ga. Wa ma. Wa ma na. Wa ma na ka. Da.
silent H.
Qua. Qua.
K.
Ka.
Cut. That's it. This is an ending character. It's technically something.
Wa. Wa na. I. Ra.
It's an I.
Okay. Wa. Wa na. Ma.
But these, all this is the same. So you want to need to look at these two lines.
Right. These the only two lines that we need.
Yeah, you need these for the cause and the that. This you don't need this.
Right. Cause. Okay. Wa. Wa na. Oh. Wa na ma. You said,
a semicircle.
Yeah. So. Good. Good. What? When the Sarah. What? Na. Sarah. When the Sarah. When the Sarah.
It's not a rut. Tail is a longer tail.
Right. Okay. Longer tail.
Which letters have longer tails?
The nose.
It does have a longer tail, but it's not a nine.
Ka. Wait, that ain't it.
Wait, you said what's
Ka.
Yeah.
Ka. Right.
Yeah,
Look
no,
at that. Ka.
So it's one sock.
Lana. La. I mean la.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. The.
Same exact letter.
Right.
That's last time. Same one you're just struggling with the second.
Right. The.
No, two to the left.
So.
Go. Yeah, you go.
Why am I wrestling with that? The sa. Ka. Kawa. Isla, you what?
Alright. I'll take that door. Alright, yeah.
Literally. Jeez.
Alright, so you go to what, 14? Alright. Exodus chapter 30, verse 10 in the Hebrew. Wakapar, Aharon, Isle, Koronathyawa, Akath, Bashanah, Madam, Kata'ath, Hakaparium, Akath, Bashanah, Yakapar, Aluwa, Lidarathicum, Quadashyum, Hawa'ah, La Yahweh. Verse 11. Waya Dabar, Yahweh, All, Mashah, La'amar. Verse 12. Kaya, Tasha'ah, Ath, Ra'ash, Banya, Yasha'ala, Lipaquadya, Lipaquad, Yaham. When a thun Ayash, Kapar, Nabashwa, La Yahweh, Paquad, Atham, Wala'ah, Yahaya, Baham, Nagap, Bagaquad, Atham, verse 13. Zaha, Yathunwa, Kal, Ha'abar, Al, Hapaquadium, Mahatazayath, Hashakwal, Bashakwal, Hakwadash, Isharium, Gagara, Hashakwal, Makazatayath, Hashakwal, Thorawama, Lo Yahweh, verse 14. Call, Ibar, Isle, Hapa Quadium, Maban, Isharium, Shana, Mama Ila, Yathun, Thora Wamoth, Yahweh. Alright, back to English.
Exodus chapter 30, verse 8. That is amazing. That's the way Yahushua gonna be talking to us when we move to the ring. Hebrew.
Yeah, we'll understand about that.
Yeah,
We might not have been the best in the English, best in the Hebrew, but he'll just put the understanding. Right. That's why Christ will be talking, or people, Israel, or whatever the case will be, prophets will be teaching in their own language, and all the nations will understand it at that period of time. Right. To my point, so that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. So, that's what the Christian church falsely calls the tongues.
They ain't technically wrong. Talking in tongues would be talking different languages, but he thinks that he'll be just like, no one understands that. You don't ever understand that.
Right.
So it's not like Christ is going to talk into a language he doesn't understand.
So then the scriptures do say right up under there, don't even do that if you don't have an interpreter, because it don't edify the people. They don't understand what the hell you're saying. Talking about you speaking of heavenly language.
And Salakia says if you prophesy that way, you prophesy unto yourself.
Right. Alright, let's see. Shit, your phone hit something.
Yeah. Okay. Exodus chapter 30, verse 8. And when Aaron light up the lamps of and Eve.
At what?
And Eve.
At what?
At even.
At even. When Aaron lighted the lamps at even, what lamps are we talking about?
Candles.
Yeah, you can talk about candles. Why would he be lighting candles at even? It should be simple.
So we can have light around the altar.
So you can see.
We can see.
They didn't have light switches and light bulbs that would just be on and on and on and on and on.
Right.
They had lamps with just needed candles and mingled with oil. And they're just there so they could see.
Nice, comfortable lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Go ahead.
He shall burn incense upon it.
And then you should burn incense upon it. And if you pour a little bit of incense, like the oil-fied incense on a fire, it will burn. You understand? It's simple. Go ahead.
A perpetual incense before the Lord throughout your generations.
Everlasting oil or fragrance or incense that you should be doing forever. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9. Ye shall offer no strange incense thereon.
Ooh-wee, meaning what?
Just frankincense and myrrh, none of the other odd stuff.
Exactly. When you're doing the work of the Lord, or the case may be, we will never be putting anything besides frankincense and myrrh up in those. You understand? That's what a strange incense would be, anything outside what the Lord wants you to put on. So of course the Lord wants you to put on his favorite smell. Right. Because you're doing it to him. Right. You understand? There's a case in the Bible where a cat was mixing frankincense and myrrh and throwing a whole bunch of other types of things on it when he shouldn't have been doing it, and it exploded in his face. Literally. Just by putting oils. You know, by mixing cherry blossom with frankincense and myrrh, or lavender, whatever the case may be. Right. And you shouldn't have done it. It was like a holy day or something along those lines. And it blew up. It blew him up. Right. He's a chemist. He makes things that you shouldn't mix when you shouldn't have mixed them. They blow up. But it was just, you can mix them on any other type of day. If you want to go out and you like frankincense and myrrh with a little bit of lavender, vanilla, whatever the case is, however your preference, that's cool. But when it's something that the Lord ordained, no. Right. If you wear it on your skin, cool. But don't burn something unto the Lord when it's mingled with something during a specific event that's ordained or commanded by the Lord. Right. Go ahead.
Nor burnt sacrifice, nor meat offering. Neither shall ye pour drink offerings thereon.
I'm going to say on the altar, whatever, that's what we're still talking about. I'm going to say you ain't doing meat offerings, you ain't going to have a dinner on it. You understand? It's not time for that. It's not time to do all that type of stuff. It's time that's made for a specific reason, which it should be specific and simple, but people aren't as wise as they once were. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And Aaron shall make an atonement upon the horn of it once in a year with a blood of the sin offering of atonement.
Meaning what? Once a year, what is Aaron doing?
Making an offering for the atonement of Israel.
Which is what?
The Day of Atonement. Oh, so
Back then, that's when they were sacrificing them.
He would sacrifice something each year.
right.
You understand? For the atonements of all the nation. Of course, people were sacrificing. No, they didn't really say yet. Never mind. Go ahead. So yes, he's making a sacrifice a year for the people. Right?
For the nation.
For the nation.
Okay. And Aaron shall make an atonement upon the horns of it once in a year with the blood of the sin offerings of atonement. Once in the year shall he make atonement upon it throughout your generations.
You understand? Throughout the generation, this was do it once a year for the sin offerings to abolish or basically have the Lord overlook the sins that they were committing. Right. You understand? Because it's not something strange that Israel loves to sin.
Oh yeah.
You understand? All the way back in the time, that's why the law we had been given the laws.
Right.
In the first place. You understand?
Right.
Go ahead.
It is most holy unto the Lord.
That's what?
It is most holy unto the Lord.
That's a holy thing to do unto the Lord to what is it? Cleanse your sins. You understand? That's basically what it's doing. He make help the Lord's cleansing you, or Aaron by that sin offering is cleansing you of your impurities.
Right. Repent.
You understand? I wouldn't want to use the word repent because he's just doing it so that Israel don't die as a whole, basically.
Right.
You understand? They sin and they behinds off.
Right.
You understand? You have some Israelites obeying it. You have some Israelites going off and being Christians, or whatever you want to call it. So they still sinning, but Aaron's trying to do it as a way for their souls so they don't die.
Right.
To my point. He's like pleading to the Lord, pleading their case. Right. You understand? Like how you, of course, I hate it, but you go into music, they always say, "Forgive me, Father, for they do not know what they do."
Yeah.
Same type of thing. You understand?
God.
But so he's basically saying, "I'm doing this for them as well, even though they won't do it for themselves."
Right.
God.
So, go ahead.
I'm sure it was a whole lot of doggone sacrifices there.
Well, not technically. He's back in later on in the future when we get to it. Yeah, but right now we're just talking about Aaron sacrificing once a year for the nation. So it's not like each individual person as of yet is bringing their own individual animals. Because remember, this is when the altar is first being built. Right. So they didn't have anything to go sacrifice to give up and purify their sin.
Right.
So go ahead.
Verse 11. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, when thou takest the sum of the children of Israel after their number, then shall they give every man a ransom for his soul unto the Lord.
And then it says, so when the Lord said, telling Moses, so when the people come, now, so I can't drink wine. I can't do it. That's sweet. Ugh. Liquor and water. There you go. Holy and holy water. That's all I want. Read one more time if you could.
Oh, sir. Verse 12. When thou takest the sum of the children of Israel after their number.
Yeah, so when thou takest the sum of the children of Israel after their number, what's it saying? The sum of Israel after their number.
The number of the house.
Close.
It's like the number of other children in Israel.
Yeah, by that number.
Oh,
You know what
God.
I'm saying? Like the thing about like the sum is the sum everything?
God.
Sum. The sum of something everything.
So like, so that would be like the Judah, the Benjamin, because we ain't camped. If all us all together, it's like a count of each group or something.
You understand? So the sum is a specific amount. It's not the entire whole. You understand? If it was talking about all Israel, it would say all or the people. You understand? So it's saying bring the sum of Israel according to the number, meaning bring a group of people, but don't make it too many people.
Right.
You understand? Meaning like get 12, get 15, get 30. However many, the number isn't in specific detail.
Right.
But it's saying just gather up an amount of people. You understand? By a certain number. Right. Go ahead.
Then shall they give every man a ransom for his soul unto the Lord.
You understand? Gave him a ransom for his soul. What's a ransom?
Like pay, like ransom is like a ransom. It's like money or pay.
There we go. Ransom is an amount of money. Of course, when a black person hears ransom, you think about like a warrant. You think about a bill or something like that.
God.
Ransom is just something that is the money in itself.
Right.
You understand? That's why they say you have a ransom of this much, or that much. Ransom is the money. Then they tell you how much money after that. That's why you go to it's like a bounty or something like that. Right? You go think about the Wild Wild West. They always put ransoms up there because you'd earn this amount, or you had to pay this amount for whatever type of deed or act needed to be done. Right. So go ahead.
When thou numberest them, that there be no plague among them. When thou numberest them, verse 13, this they shall give every one that passeth among them that are numbered.
You get the sense. So this is what you give each one of those people that you brought forth, right? Go ahead.
Half a shekel.
Half a what?
Half a shekel.
Get them half a shekel. Go ahead.
After the shekel of the sanctuary. A shekel is 20 garish. And half a shekel shall be the offering of the Lord.
You understand? So he's basically, remember, they're doing this still at the altar, whatever the case.
Right.
Okay, they built it, you understand? They told you what you can't do on it, and all that. It's not here to eat, it's not here to play, it's not here to do that. It's not a festival. It's not a festival. It's not a festivity. This is something that's actually ordained and you have to do. In this period of time, of course, now it was done away with because of Christ, but back in the time, they actually had to sacrifice. Right? And so he gives each one of them, because remember, he grabbed the amount, a certain amount of people, he gave them, what? Half a shekel? And half a shekel, and what they're supposed to do is bring their half a shekel and give their half a shekel to the Lord.
Right.
You understand? Meaning, it's like this. You're accounted for now. You're accounted for now. You're accounted for now. So when I decide to slit the throat of this animal, you're accounted for in that sin offering.
Right.
You understand?
Oh, God.
That's all. That's really what the basis of this, what is going along the lines is doing. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Everyone that passeth among them that are numbered from 20 years old and above.
You understand? So this is for everyone that's 20 years plus. Right? Go ahead.
Shall give an offering unto the Lord.
You are ought to be given a offering unto the Lord. You understand? Why do you think 20 years left?
It's like because you're old enough, you understand.
Because, yeah, you are old enough, and like around your 20s is when it's time for you to get up out your parents' house.
Right.
Normally, of course, when you're not in captivity, you understand. So, that's really the time where they're either married off or moved out and stuff like that. Of course, in Israel, you're considered a man around a young age.
Right.
You understand, but you don't have the knowledge and the wisdom and then the understanding or the years of life to even know how to experience a lot of things. That's why when family members kick their sons out at like 14 years old, well, they're most likely gonna fail.
Right.
You understand? 18 is pretty early as well if you think about it. If there wasn't such thing as college, majority of people would not move out at 18 years old.
Right.
You understand why? Because first they need to get a job, Because you already know, at least in America, it's for 16 years old. Of course, they let you start working, but they would prefer you not to be that young.
Right.
They want you at least around 18. You understand? So if you are 18, then everything costs money. Almost everything costs money.
Right.
Especially if you got to move out. So now you're 18 years old. Your parents kick you out. You're not going to college. Now where are you going to live? You understand? That's the whole point. That's why a lot of people go to community colleges because they have dorms and whatever the case may be, so you can actually stay in. But at 18 years old, someone that is not going to college, how are they going to afford their daily base?
Right.
So 19, let them stack some bread. You understand? Just because they turned 18 doesn't mean you should just move them out the crib.
Right.
You really just setting them up for failure. You understand? It's a tough lifestyle to live when you're 18, 19 years old and you just get flinged out. You understand? Most kids fail college or have to drop out because they can't afford the tuition fees, or they made a mistake, whatever the case may be. They get kicked out of college. And 99% of the time, where do they go after that? Back home, so they can get prepared for real life again. Because 18-year-old is a pretty young age to dip out.
And so, like you, sir, technically the system is set up because most kids that go to college, they still depend on their parents until they're 20, 21, 22 years old. But like I said, the system, like you said, the system has it set up where in our minds, has us set up in our minds and brainwashed to a point where it says, okay, well, if your kid doesn't go to college, kick them out at 18. But if they do go to college, take care of them until they're 21, 22 or whatever. You know, and it just goes to show a child coming into adulthood still needs their parents until they're in their early 20s, regardless.
You understand? And you got to think about this. We weren't meant to be living up to, 50, 60 years old. We were supposed to be living up until 1,000 years old. 1,000 years old.
Right.
So 20 is you still necessarily a baby when you're 20. You still, when you're living up to 800, 900 years old, you a baby at 50. in the long run, when I'm talking about just the number wise, but you have a lot of time. You living up to 300 years old is a long time to us.
Right.
Because no one lives that long. 300 to them is like, well, damn, he died. Oh, Billy died young.
So I can think about if we go back and look at the story of Noah, his sons lived with him until after the flood.
Yeah.
You know, and we know, like it says in the Zondervan, Ham was born
96 years after the flood.
96 years, you know what I mean, after the flood. So his sons, you know, they were still with Noah, 96 years old, and still staying with your mom and pops.
Majority of the time.
Majority of the time. Because like you said, we're supposed to live to be hundreds of thousands, or up to 1,000 years old. So if you're 96 and still living at home, you might as well still be 9. You know what I mean? You're still young in the world at that point and inexperienced.
You understand? That's the whole point. In America, remember, this is all building infrastructures and all that. When you go back to the times, we were farmers.
Right.
Farmers have what? A ton of land where you can house 50 people. You understand? You can make it's your land. You have 100 acres, not 300 acres. You can build each one their own living quarters.
Right.
You understand? In America, living quarter, you really don't find no 5, 6 bedrooms nowadays.
Right.
You understand? Meaning why? Because they want you to have less children. Really, only because it makes sense you're gonna have less kids because you have less lifespan. Right. But it is what it is. They don't. You see in the last 2 years how much a studio went up in price. Or 3-4 years ago, studios in Chicago were $500-$600. Now they $8, $9, $950. My point. I've been looking at my joints. I've been finding it was hard to find a nice looking apartment, 2-bedroom for under 1,100.
Right.
You understand? That's difficult. That's the whole point. Is that it really is just a setup to failure. So that's the whole point.
It's like, so even when you get a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, they still small as hell for the prices that
the
they
bedroom
charge.
super small. They'll be like, "This is your master bedroom." Well, master,
right?
All master bedrooms should have their own bathroom, in my opinion. It's the master bedroom. What sets this bedroom apart if it doesn't have its own things?
Right.
My point. It is what it is. You have you got a little crevice called the bathroom. is that you can't bend over and spit your toothpaste out because your butt's in the wall.
Right.
I don't want that.
Have y'all all seen those types of cribs? I ain't playing.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I've been in a bathroom that narrow where you can't really bend over to spit out your toothpaste because the wall's so close. It is that you can play patty cake with the wall while you sit down taking the French number two.
You're bumping your knees and elbow on the sink and the door when you sit on the toilet.
That's my point. When you have your own land, you get to choose the sizes of your joints, the sizes of your houses, and everything like that, and you can accommodate for more than 2 or 3. So 18, that whole 18, kicking them out when they're 18, that's you taking a risk with your child.
Right.
And 90%, I'm gonna say like 80% of kids or children that leave their house usually come back sooner or later.
That's right.
Yes, I haven't had to yet. Not yet.
Well,
Well, now since I'm in the school, I won't ever have to. But easy real quick. It is what it is.
You will in this land of captivity.
Is that now I got y'all couches to stay on. I don't gotta go back to mom and pops.
that's right.
I'll go with you and your mom and pop. God, joking, though. But go ahead and read that again.
Okay, sir.
What we at?
What was that, 14?
14. All right, read it from top.
Come on, sir. Exodus chapter 30, verse 14. Everyone that passes among them that are numbered from 20 years old and above shall give an offering unto the Lord.
You understand? Those are the ones that have to give the offerings to the Lord for the sacrifice that Moses or Aaron is gonna have to do. You understand? Whoever is at there and highest rank man at the time, right? Why do people not under that specific age have to do it? Why do people 19 and under don't have to?
Because they still with their parents.
Exactly, because they still with their parents, and when their parents go do that, that's for the whole house.
Right.
You know, the whole house, like the house of Tazan, the house of Mayad. You go do that, you and your rib, that's cool. If your rib can't, let's say your rib ill or whatever, she can't make it. Let's say for the Passover. Of course, it's commandment to go to the Passover, yes. But sometimes they can't do it. Why? Slavery and stuff like that. But if you show up and your rib can't show up, your rib did still show up.
Right.
Because your rib, you're there, and your rib, because it's your house. She's a part of your house. You're the representative.
Right.
Yeah, that's perfect way. You understand? So let's get 7 more, and then we'll wrap it up. Next
Oh,
time.
sir.
So let's go back to the Hebrew. I'll just read the 7, unless you want to take 2 of them.
Not loud, sir. You go ahead.
Yeah, I'm let me get back to it. 30
15.
and 15. All right. All right.
You making me tired.
I told you I went to bed at 2:30. I'm not good at going to sleep early. I can't do it.
I already know.
All right. Exodus chapter 30, verse 15 in the Hebrew. Aisha Yar, La'ah, Yarabah, Wahadal, La'ah, Yama'ai, Yat, Mama Kataza Yath, Hashakwal, Lathath, Ath, Thara Wamath, Yahweh, Lakapar, Isle, Napashathyakum. Verse 16. Willaquath, Ath, Kasap, Hakaparyum, Ma'ath, Banya, Yasha'ala, Winathath, Athwa, Isle, Ibadath, Ahal, Ma'aid, Wahaya, Labanya, Yasha'ala, Lazak, Rawan, Lapanya, Yahweh, Lakapar, Isle, Napash, the Yakam. Verse 17. So I'm going to 21. Waya Debar, Yahweh, All, Masha, La'amar, verse 18. Wa'aishayath, Kayawar, Lakashath, Wakanwa, Nakashath, Lara Katazah, Wanathoth, Athwa, Bayan, Ahal, Mawa'id, Wabayan, Hamazabak, Wanathoth, Masha, Mayam, verse 19. Wara Katazawa, Ha'aran, Wabanyawa, Mamanwa, Ath, Yedayahum, Wa'ath, Rugalahum, Rugal Yahum, verse 20. Baba'am, or Babam, Baba'am, All, Ahal, Mawa'id, Yura Katazawa, Mayam, Wala'ad, Yamathwa, Awa, Bagashatham, All, Hamazabak, Lasharath, Lahakwatayar, Asha, La Yahweh, verse 21. Rakatazawa, Wada Yahum, Yadi Yahum, Wuragal Yahum, Wala'ah, Yamathwa, Wahayatha, Lahum, Kakwa, I Walam, Lawa, Wala Zaraiwa, Ledarayah. It's like Ladarathum. All right, that's that. And the Hebrew. Back to the English.
Exodus chapter 30, verse 15. The rich shall not give more, and the poor shall not give less.
The what?
The rich shall not give more, and the poor shall not give less.
Why would he say that? Why should the rich not give more, but the rich should? Why should the rich not give more and the poor should give less than that? Why do they all? Why? Why can the rich not pay more? Why do the poor have to pay all of it? Why?
Because it's a set amount for atonement.
It's a set amount. The Lord said half a shekel.
Right.
That's all you gotta pay. You understand? Go ahead.
Then half a shekel when they gave an offering unto the Lord to make an atonement for your soul, for your souls.
Because that half a shekel is all that's required for the atonement for your soul. You understand? For you not to get slain, all you got to do is pay your half a shekel. That means that this lamb or ox or whatever they decide to sacrifice, that's your atonement as well.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 16. And thou shalt take the atonement money of the children of Israel, and shall appoint it for the service of the tabernacle of the congregation.
You understand? And then you use the funds, all the half shekels that you collected from each individual person, you use it for the what?
For the service of the tabernacle.
You use it for whatever necessary costs might be needed for that service. Because of course, back when you actually had to do animal sacrificing, it was a service. You understand? They'd be blowing the shapar. They'd be, of course, slaughtering the animal, whatever the case. You understand? It'd be the same thing as almost now. You understand? They'd be sending a prayer to the Lord, and all the case may be. You understand? You're gonna need food. You understand? You're gonna need drinks. You understand? Because you got to do that. It's it's not a holy day, but it's like something along them lines, right? Well, this is once a year. It's not very difficult. Go ahead.
That it may be a memorial unto the children of Israel before the Lord, to make an atonement for your souls. 17. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 18, thou shalt also make a laver of brass.
Yeah. Does anyone know what that is for? What does laver is? I mean,
A certain jewelry.
Definition of labor. I don't think this is it. An edible seaweed?
yeah, it's probably not.
Yeah.
We're not making edible seaweed made of brass. We make it less edible. What?
Another definition in Google: a large basin upon a foot or pedestal in the court of the Hebrew temple.
That's what that is. Read it one more time.
Khan. A large basin upon a foot or pedestal in the court of the Hebrew tabernacle.
Yep, that's that what it is. All right, go ahead.
And his foot also of brass, to wash withal. And thou shalt put it between the tabernacle of the congregation and the altar. And thou shalt put water therein.
Right, go ahead.
Verse 19. For Aaron and his sons shall wash their hands and their feet thereat.
You understand? Why would they be washing their hands and feet?
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness. You understand? It's basically to make sure they don't get like infected or anything like that. Whatever the case may be, they still have to wash their hands and their feet. Right. Back in the times, we weren't wearing closed-toed shoes all the time.
Right.
And so we were like sand. You think about, of course, I use it. The Greeks, they were always in sandals. Mm-hmm. And the Romans always in sandals. Yeah. Sandals is more of the footwear back then, because of course materials were not as advanced as they are now. You have steel-toed boots and all that. It wasn't like that back then.
Right. Not to mention that it was less pavement. It was sand and dirt.
Yeah, sand, dirt, you understand, mud.
Right.
And you were just a hot mess. Right?
God.
So of course they had to wash their hands and feet. You don't really want to go see a man of the Lord coming up onto the podium and do all this other stuff, and you can see the dirt underneath his toenail. It's a little bit of a let me down.
Yeah. God.
Verse 20. When they go into the tabernacle of the congregation, they shall wash with water, that they die not.
You understand? They gotta be what? Holy. You gotta be clean. You understand? You gotta wash your behind before you go do the work of the Lord.
That's right.
You understand? Hopefully all y'all took your showers either last night or this morning.
We should hope.
You should hope. If not, we'll find out later. Just lie stand next to you. Go ahead.
Or when they come near unto the altar to minister, to burn offerings made by the fire unto the Lord.
Right? You understand? They're making their sacrifices to the Lord. You gotta think, what do you do with a burnt offering? At the end of the day,
probably consume it.
You consume it. You serve it up. You understand? That's the whole point. I'm good on someone that has no hygiene making my food. Serving my food.
Right. So that'd be like us sitting here and they back there fixing our plates and they washing them and they grabbing the food with their damn hands and they using it too.
I know. I said when we went out the other day. Yeah,
no thank you.
Wash your hands. I'm good on that.
Right. Kids wash your hands?
Basically. So I felt when I did it. I felt like granddad off of Boondock.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, concert. Verse 22. 21, come on. So they shall wash their hands and their feet, that they die not. And it shall be a statute for even to them, even to him, and to his seed throughout their generations.
You understand? This is something that they always have to do. You understand? It's not too much. It's not no difficulty. You understand? So, you understand? This would be a precept I believe you could use for the Day of Atonement. But the actual Day of Atonement scriptures are in Leviticus.
Right.
In 23rd chapter, if I'm not mistaken. But with that, pass it over back to Officer Rum.
Concert.